Alien woman whispered, "I can't breathe." When he lifted the cover, his heart stopped. The alien planet was quiet, almost too quiet. Dr. Ethan Marlowe walked slowly through the ruins, his boots crunching softly against the strange, glowing stones underfoot. The air was thin but breathable, with his helmet's life support system running smoothly. He had been sent to explore these ruins, a site of ancient alien architecture discovered only a few months ago. Rumors among the other researchers suggested it was haunted or dangerous, but Ethan did not believe in ghost stories. He believed in facts, in science, in the thrill of discovery. As he moved deeper into the ruins, he noticed the walls were covered in strange symbols. They glimmered faintly, as if responding to his presence. The air smelled faintly sweet, almost like flowers he had never seen before. He paused, scanning the area carefully. "Ethan," he whispered into his communicator, "I don't see any signs of life. Just the structures and these markings." A sudden sound made him freeze. It was soft, almost imperceptible, a whisper. "I can't breathe." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. He looked around cautiously, but the ruins were empty. The whisper came again, faint but clear. It seemed to come from behind a partially collapsed wall. He approached slowly, careful not to disturb anything that might be delicate or dangerous. There, in a small chamber hidden beneath the rubble, he saw her. She lay on the ground, covered by a soft, glowing cloth that pulsed gently with light. Her body was unlike anything he had ever seen. She was humanoid in shape, but her skin shimmered faintly with a color that changed depending on the angle of the light. Her eyes were closed and she was trembling slightly. The whisper came again, so soft it was almost a sigh. "I can't breathe." Ethan's training kicked in immediately. He crouched beside her and checked her vitals using the portable scanner on his wrist. His eyes widened slightly. The readings were strange. Her lungs were functional, but her breathing was shallow, irregular. Something in the room seemed to interfere with her natural functions. He realized quickly that it wasn't an injury causing her distress. Something about this place, these ruins, was affecting her biology. He spoke softly. "I'm here to help, don't be afraid." The alien woman stirred slightly, her glowing skin flickering as she opened her eyes. They were large, almost luminous, and focused on him for a brief moment before closing again. She attempted to speak, but no sound came out. Ethan understood immediately that communication would have to be nonverbal. He gently lifted the edge of the glowing cloth to expose her. His heart raced, not from fear but from awe. Embedded in her chest, just below the collarbone, was a small, crystalline structure. It pulsed faintly like a heartbeat, but irregularly as if struggling. Ethan's mind raced. This was not just any alien. This was something entirely new, something advanced, something that might teach humanity more about life itself if he could help her survive. Ethan reached into his bag and pulled out a portable breathing apparatus. It was a prototype device designed to assist humans in extreme atmospheres, but it might help her too. He carefully adjusted it and placed it near her mouth. She coughed softly as the first regulated flow of air reached her. Her eyes opened fully, and she looked at him. There was a spark of recognition, almost gratitude. The ruins, silent for centuries, seemed to hum quietly as if acknowledging his actions. Ethan felt a shiver run down his spine. He realized that he was witnessing something extraordinary, not just a chance encounter with an alien, but the beginning of a connection that could change everything humans knew about life in the universe. For several minutes, he monitored her breathing, adjusting the flow of the apparatus carefully. She seemed to respond to his presence, moving slightly and opening her mouth to take in the air more effectively. Ethan spoke softly, trying to calm both himself and her. "You're safe now. I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to help." The alien woman's glowing skin shifted slightly in color. Ethan had read that some alien species used skin coloration for communication. This was likely a sign of acknowledgement or perhaps relief. He took a deep breath himself, realizing how delicate the moment was. One wrong move could frighten her or cause her to regress into unconsciousness. Ethan scanned the chamber with his handheld scanner, looking for anything that could explain her distress. Strange devices were scattered around, most of them inert, but one in the corner pulsed faintly. He approached it carefully. The device seemed to emit a low-frequency energy, barely noticeable but enough to disrupt biological functions. He realized this device had likely caused her breathing problems. His mind worked quickly. He couldn't remove the device without understanding it. It might be dangerous. but he could shield her from its effects temporarily. Using materials from his kit, he fashioned a small barrier between her and the device. Slowly, her breathing became steadier. She looked at him again, this time blinking rapidly, her eyes shining with curiosity and perhaps a hint of trust. Ethan's heart pounded in his chest. Here he was, on a distant alien world, facing a being from another species, and he had managed to stabilize her life signs. His training as a xenobiologist had prepared him for scientific observation, but nothing could have prepared him for this emotional intensity. He felt a sense of responsibility heavier than anything he had known. She was not just a specimen, she was alive, intelligent, and now dependent on him. Time passed slowly as he worked to ensure her condition remained stable. He used his scanners to record her vital signs continuously and adjusted the breathing apparatus as needed. Each time she moved slightly, he paused to ensure she was comfortable. He began to wonder about her species, how intelligent they might be, what kind of society they had, and how they had come to be here. The chamber itself was remarkable. The walls glimmered with faint symbols that seemed to respond to their presence. Ethan noted that some symbols changed color when she moved, as if reacting to her energy. He realized that this might have been a control system, or perhaps a form of environmental interface designed by her species. Understanding it could be crucial not only to her survival, but to humanity's understanding of alien technology. Despite the danger, Ethan felt a spark of hope. Humans were explorers, problem solvers, survivors. He reminded himself that this was the essence of humanity, the ability to confront the unknown with courage, intelligence, and compassion. He could do this. He would help her survive. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. Finally, she began to move more freely, her breathing normalized, her glowing chest pulsing steadily. Ethan allowed himself a small smile. She looked at him, and for the first time he sensed a real connection. She seemed to understand that he had saved her, even without words. Ethan realized that communication would have to be patient. Words might not work, but gestures, actions, and shared experience could create a bond stronger than any language. He offered her a hand gently. She looked at it for a moment, then touched it lightly with her own. It was a small gesture, but it carried immense meaning. Trust had begun to form. The ruins, once silent and empty, now seemed alive with possibility. Ethan felt the weight of discovery pressing on him, but also a thrill unlike anything he had known. This was more than science. This was a moment that could define humanity's first true contact with another intelligent species. He knew that whatever lay ahead would be dangerous and uncertain. The alien woman was fragile, the ruins unstable, and the unknown stretched in every direction. Yet he also knew something else. Humanity was capable of incredible things. Courage, intelligence, empathy, and resilience were qualities that could bridge the vast gulf between species, and he intended to use every one of them to ensure her survival. For now, he would focus on keeping her alive. The rest, communication, understanding, learning, would come later. But in that quiet, glowing chamber under the alien sky and amidst the remnants of an ancient civilization, Ethan Marlowe realized that he had already begun something extraordinary. Something that would change not only his life, but the course of human exploration forever. He sat beside her, watching the gentle rise and fall of her chest, feeling a strange sense of connection across the boundaries of species, language, and understanding. And in that moment, he knew with certainty that humans could face the unknown and triumph, not through weapons or dominance, but through compassion, intellect, and the courage to do what was right. Ethan sat quietly, observing the alien woman as she began to regain her strength. Her chest glowed steadily now, the crystal embedded there pulsing like a calm heartbeat. He had stabilized her breathing, but he knew that was only the beginning. The ruins around them were ancient, mysterious, and possibly dangerous. Every object, every symbol could hold secrets, and understanding them could be the key to helping her fully recover. He looked around the chamber again. The walls shimmered faintly with those strange symbols, and he realized they weren't random. Some seemed to react to her presence, while others shifted slightly as if responding to him. Ethan had spent years studying alien artifacts, but nothing like this had ever crossed his path. This was more than a relic. It was a living, interactive system, and somehow it was linked to her very life. Carefully, he began to examine the devices scattered around the room. Most were inert, but a small panel on the far wall glowed faintly when he approached. Ethan crouched down, scanning it with his portable device. Readings appeared on his wrist screen, energy frequencies unlike anything humans had recorded. They seemed to interact directly with her biological systems. It was then he realized the truth. Her species had adapted to this environment in a way humans could barely imagine. Their biology was intertwined with technology, a symbiosis that allowed them to survive and thrive in conditions humans would consider impossible. The alien woman stirred again. She lifted her head slightly and looked at him, her eyes wide and luminous. She attempted to speak, but only soft sounds escaped her. Ethan understood immediately. She had her own language one humans couldn't yet comprehend. He needed to find another way to communicate. He placed his hand gently near hers, not touching her chest, just showing a gesture of peace. Slowly, she reached out, brushing her fingers against his hand. The glow of her skin shifted slightly, a deeper hue spreading across her body. Ethan took it as a sign of acknowledgement. "I'm going to help you," he said softly. "We need to understand this place, and I think it can help us both." She tilted her head, watching him carefully. It seemed she understood the intent, even if not the words. Ethan smiled faintly. Humans were adaptable, intelligent, and capable of empathy. Perhaps that was what she sensed, something in his mind, in his actions, that signaled trust. He stood slowly and began to explore the chamber more thoroughly. Every object, every symbol could be important. Some of the devices looked like energy conduits, channels for power to move through the ruins. Others appeared to be control panels, their interfaces alien yet strangely logical. He took careful notes, scanning everything with his wrist device. Hours passed as he worked. The alien woman watched him closely, occasionally moving closer, testing her strength. Each time she did, Ethan adjusted her breathing apparatus, ensuring she remained safe. He realized that her species must be highly intelligent and resilient. Surviving here alone, with these ruins affecting her biology, would require exceptional skill. Yet here she was, vulnerable but still showing signs of understanding and awareness. Ethan began to piece together the pattern of the energy around them. The devices seemed to emit frequencies that could either support life or disrupt it. The alien woman's crystal responded directly to these frequencies, regulating her biological functions. If he could learn to control them, he could help her recover fully. But the system was complex, unlike anything humans had designed. It would take careful observation, experimentation, and patience. He moved closer to the glowing panel. Touching it lightly, he felt a faint hum under his fingertips. The symbols shifted slightly, reacting to his presence. He frowned, concentrating. If he could mimic the pattern of her biological energy, perhaps he could stabilize the system more permanently. He pulled out a small device from his pack, one designed to interact with alien technology, and adjusted its settings. A soft glow emitted from the device, harmonizing with the panel's energy. The alien woman's eyes widened. Her crystal pulsed steadily, and she moved slightly closer. Ethan realized she was responding positively to the adjustment. Encouraged, he continued to calibrate the device, careful not to push too far. Slowly, he could see her breathing becoming more natural. The shallow, irregular gasps had transformed into steady inhalations. She raised her head fully, observing him with an almost human-like expression of curiosity and gratitude. For the first time, Ethan felt a sense of partnership forming. He was not just a rescuer, he was a collaborator. They were beginning to communicate in a way that transcended words. Actions, gestures, and subtle signals were enough to build trust, and in that trust he saw the first glimmer of hope for understanding her species and possibly learning from it. He spoke softly again. "We need to understand each other. This place, these devices, your energy, everything is connected. I think it can help us both." The alien woman tilted her head, her glowing skin shifting through shades of blue and green. It was subtle, but Ethan recognized it as a sign of acknowledgement. Her species used color to communicate emotions and intent, he realized. That small detail opened a window into their biology, culture, and intelligence. Humans had never faced a species like this before. Yet here he was, bridging that gap with nothing but observation, patience, and empathy. Hours turned into the equivalent of a full Earth day, though time in the ruins felt strange. The light inside the chamber pulsed faintly, almost as if the ruins themselves were aware of their presence. Ethan had managed to stabilize the alien woman completely now. Her crystal pulsed steadily, her breathing was natural, and her movements had become confident. She tested her strength by standing fully for a few moments, then returning to sit beside him. The gesture seemed deliberate, a sign of trust and cooperation. Ethan realized he had learned something important, not just about her, but about humanity. Humans were explorers, not just of space, but of understanding. They survived, adapted, and thrived because of their intelligence and empathy. That ability to connect across species, to help even when faced with the unknown, was what made them strong. And now, faced with this alien woman, he saw those qualities in action. He decided to take the next step carefully. Reaching into his pack, he pulled out a portable scanner that could map energy fields and biological patterns simultaneously. He turned it on and aimed it at her crystal. The device beeped softly, analyzing the complex energy flows. Ethan studied the results carefully. The crystal was not just a biological organ, it was a sophisticated energy matrix capable of storing and regulating life force. Its irregularities had caused her distress, and his adjustments had stabilized it temporarily. But temporary was not enough. He needed a permanent solution if she were to survive long-term. He studied the symbols on the walls again, noticing patterns that matched the energy readings from her crystal. It seemed the ruins were designed to interact directly with her species, maintaining their health and regulating their energy. Without access to these systems, she would always be vulnerable. Ethan spoke softly, more to himself than to her. "We need to figure this out together. I can help, but I need you to cooperate." The alien woman tilted her head again, her eyes glowing brightly. She reached out and touched the panel on the wall lightly. To Ethan's surprise, the symbols responded immediately. Lines of light traced across the wall, connecting different devices in a flowing pattern. The energy readings on his scanner shifted as well, stabilizing further. She seemed to understand instinctively how to control the system, even after what must have been years of neglect. It dawned on him then that her species had evolved with technology in a way humans had only dreamed of. They were not just users of tools, they were part of the system itself. And now, with his help, she was rediscovering how to interact with it. Together, they were forming a bridge between two forms of intelligence, two ways of thinking about life and survival. Hours passed, and Ethan realized he had been working almost continuously. Yet, he felt no exhaustion. The thrill of discovery, the responsibility of helping her, and the realization of what humanity could achieve kept him alert and focused. He was not just a scientist. He was a pioneer stepping into the unknown with courage and intellect. As the alien woman moved closer, he noticed subtle changes in her posture. She seemed eager to communicate, to share knowledge. Ethan smiled. Words might not work yet, but actions and understanding could. He gestured toward the device he had used to stabilize her crystal. Slowly, she moved her hand over it, mimicking his earlier actions. The energy readings shifted again, becoming even more stable. For the first time, Ethan felt confident that she could survive here, at least temporarily, without constant intervention. That realization brought him a quiet sense of pride, not arrogance, but the satisfaction of having bridged a gap between species, of having used human intelligence and compassion to save a life that had seemed impossible to preserve. The chamber, once silent and foreboding, now seemed alive. The walls glimmered softly, responding to her presence and his. Symbols shifted, energy flowed, and the air hummed faintly with a vitality that was almost palpable. Ethan realized that he was witnessing a cooperation between human ingenuity and alien biology, something that had never occurred before in the history of human exploration. He looked at her and spoke softly. "We can do this. Together we can learn, survive, and maybe even thrive here." She reached out, touching his hand once more. The glow of her skin shifted through a spectrum of colors, and Ethan felt a surge of hope. He understood then that they were partners now, explorers of not just the ruins, but of a future where humans and other intelligent species could work together. The ruins no longer felt dangerous. They were a challenge, yes, but also an opportunity. And with patience, understanding, and intelligence, the core qualities of humanity, Ethan knew they could face whatever came next. Ethan had never faced a challenge like this before. The alien woman's chest glowed steadily now, and she moved with more confidence, but the ruins were still full of mysteries and dangers. Every step he took felt heavier than usual because the stakes were so high. One wrong move, and both of them could be trapped or worse. But he reminded himself of why he was here. Not for glory, not for recognition, but to help a life, to explore the unknown, and to learn. Humanity had always been defined by curiosity, intelligence, and courage, and this was the moment where all three were needed. He studied the energy panel again. Its soft glow reflected in his visor, and he realized that the system was far more complex than he had first imagined. The alien woman's crystal pulsed in time with the energy flowing through the walls, almost like a heartbeat syncing with a larger rhythm. Ethan's eyes widened. This wasn't just a source of life. It was a key to understanding her species, technology, and biology. If he could figure it out, humans could gain knowledge that might take centuries to develop on their own. The woman observed him closely, her luminous eyes following every movement. She began to mimic his actions with the devices, moving her hands carefully across the glowing panels. Lines of light traced across the walls, connecting different points in a flowing pattern. Ethan realized that she was interacting with the system intuitively. Her species had evolved alongside this technology, and now, with his help, she was restoring the balance that had been lost. He spoke softly, even though he wasn't sure if she understood the words. "We need to stabilize everything. We can't risk the energy surges." The alien woman tilted her head and emitted a soft, melodic sound. Ethan watched carefully, noting the vibration patterns. It wasn't speech as humans knew it, but it was a form of communication, likely expressing understanding or agreement. He nodded, feeling a sense of connection he had never experienced before. This was more than science. This was collaboration across species. Ethan moved carefully to adjust the device he had made earlier. The energy readings on his scanner fluctuated wildly, and he realized that even minor changes could affect her life. He held his breath as he made slight calibrations, watching the crystal in her chest pulse with each adjustment. Slowly, the energy stabilized. The light on the walls flowed in a harmonious pattern, and her breathing remained calm and steady. He felt a surge of relief. It was the first time he truly believed she might survive here long-term. But he also knew the ruins held other secrets, ones that could change everything humans understood about life, energy, and intelligence. Ethan decided it was time to explore further, to understand what this chamber really was. He gestured toward the alien woman. "We're going to need to move carefully. There's more to discover, and it's important that we stay together." She looked at him, and then at the corridor leading deeper into the ruins. She seemed to understand and began to move, walking with surprising grace despite her recent weakness. Ethan followed closely, his scanner active, watching for any signs of danger. The walls of the corridor shimmered faintly, and he realized the entire structure might be alive in some way. The symbols reacted to their presence, glowing brighter as they approached certain points. As they progressed, Ethan noticed something extraordinary. Some of the symbols seemed to mirror the pattern of the crystal in her chest. He paused and examined them closely. It was a map, not a map of the ruins, but a map of energy flows, biological and mechanical systems intertwined. His heart raced. This was a living blueprint of her species, technology and biology combined. If he could understand it, humans could learn more about energy systems, life support, and biological engineering than ever before. The alien woman seemed to notice his fascination. She reached out and touched the wall where the patterns matched her crystal. Instantly, a soft hum filled the corridor. Lines of light connected to the devices around them, creating a network of energy that flowed like a river. Ethan could feel the vibrations through his gloves. This was alive in a way he had never experienced, a machine and a life form integrated perfectly. He realized then that this was not just an alien chamber. It was a learning system designed to teach, maintain, and interact with her species. It had kept her alive, even when the ruins had been abandoned, but without guidance it had caused her distress. Ethan's mind raced. If he could learn the system, he could ensure her survival and unlock knowledge humans had never dreamed of. Carefully, he guided her to the central panel. "We need to work together," he said softly. "I can help, but you must guide me too." She placed her hand on the panel, and the crystal in her chest pulsed more brightly. Light flowed through the walls in a synchronized rhythm. Ethan followed her lead, touching the panel where her hand rested. His scanner picked up patterns of energy that aligned perfectly with the pulses from her crystal. He realized they were in harmony, two forms of intelligence working together to stabilize a system far beyond human comprehension. Hours passed as they worked in tandem. Ethan studied the energy flows, the symbols, and the crystal's patterns. The alien woman moved beside him, guiding, responding, and adjusting. Slowly, he began to understand. Her species had created a network that could regulate life, energy, and environment simultaneously. The crystal in her chest was the central node, capable of interacting with the system on multiple levels. Ethan felt a sense of awe he had never known. Humanity had achieved incredible technological feats, but this was beyond anything he had imagined. It was not just machinery or biology, it was both, seamlessly integrated. And here he was, a human, learning to communicate and collaborate with a being whose very existence challenged everything humans knew. As they worked, Ethan noticed subtle signs of communication. She would pulse her skin with colors when she wanted him to adjust something, or emit soft sounds to indicate approval or caution. He responded by changing the device settings, moving in sync with her guidance. Together, they stabilized the energy patterns completely. Finally, the hum of the chamber became steady, almost like a heartbeat. Ethan glanced at the alien woman. She was glowing softly, her crystal pulsing steadily, her breathing calm and regular. She looked at him, eyes bright with what he interpreted as relief and recognition. He smiled faintly. They had done it, they had worked together to restore balance. But Ethan knew this was only the beginning. The ruins were vast, full of chambers, corridors, and hidden technology. Each step forward could reveal knowledge, danger, or both. He had learned that her species had evolved in perfect harmony with technology, creating a system that could sustain life and teach intelligence. Humanity had much to learn, and he was determined to understand it. He spoke softly, almost to himself. "This is incredible, but there's more. We need to keep moving to see what else we can learn." The alien woman seemed to agree. She moved toward a side corridor, glowing faintly as she guided him. Ethan followed, scanning the walls, the symbols, and the energy flows. Each step revealed more complexity, more elegance. He realized that this was not just a challenge, it was an opportunity. Humanity could study, learn, and perhaps even collaborate with her species in ways that could transform their understanding of science, energy, and life itself. As they ventured deeper, Ethan noticed something that made his heart stop for a moment. Embedded in one wall was a panel with markings that seemed to mirror the shape of her crystal exactly. It pulsed faintly, almost like it was waiting for her touch. He gestured to her cautiously. She understood and placed her hand on the panel. Immediately, the wall lit up, revealing a hidden compartment containing a small device. Ethan carefully examined it. The device was unlike anything humans had created. It seemed to be a power source, a storage unit for biological energy, or perhaps a communication device. Its design was elegant, precise, and clearly intended for her species. He realized that they had stumbled upon an archive, a collection of technology and knowledge that could provide insights into her civilization, their understanding of energy, and their interaction with the environment. The alien woman watched him closely, then gestured for him to approach. She seemed to understand that he was learning, observing, and adapting. Ethan smiled faintly. Humanity had the ability to understand, to analyze, and to learn. And now, in this chamber, that potential was being tested in ways he had never imagined. Together, they began to explore the hidden compartments, devices, and panels. Ethan took careful notes, scanning everything with his wrist device. Each discovery revealed new possibilities: energy regulation systems, environmental controls, and even what appeared to be teaching devices, designed to guide the species through complex interactions with the ruins. Hours turned into what felt like days, but Ethan remained focused. The alien woman moved beside him, glowing softly, guiding and responding. Together, they were bridging the gap between human and alien understanding. Ethan felt a profound sense of hope. Humanity had always faced the unknown with courage and intelligence. Now, with this alien being, they were demonstrating the true potential of cooperation, empathy, and learning across species. Finally, Ethan paused to take a deep breath. The chamber was stable, the energy flows balanced, and the alien woman was fully alert and responsive. He looked at her glowing eyes and pulsing crystal. They had achieved something remarkable. Together, they had not only stabilized her life, but also unlocked a glimpse into a civilization far more advanced than humanity had ever encountered. Ethan realized then that the future of human exploration could be profoundly changed by this encounter. The alien woman was not just a survivor, she was a teacher, a guide, and a bridge to knowledge humans had never imagined. And humanity, with its curiosity, intelligence, and empathy, was ready to learn. He smiled faintly. They had come a long way, but the journey was just beginning. The ruins held more secrets, and together they would uncover them. Humanity had faced the unknown before, and they had survived. Now they were ready to thrive, not through force, but through understanding, cooperation, and the courage to reach beyond the stars. Ethan and the alien woman moved deeper into the ruins, their steps echoing softly against the glowing walls. The light from her pulsing crystal illuminated the intricate symbols etched into the stone, casting shifting patterns across the chamber. Ethan felt both awe and determination. Every step revealed something new, another layer of technology intertwined with biology, another secret waiting to be understood. He realized that these ruins were not just buildings. They were a network, a living system designed to sustain her species. The energy flowed through every wall, every panel, every crystal embedded in the stone. And the alien woman was its key, the central node that could harmonize the system. Without her, the ruins were dangerous. With her, they were a source of incredible knowledge. As they progressed, Ethan noticed subtle changes in the energy readings. Some sections were unstable, pulsating erratically, and he could see the faint hum of power surging through the walls. The alien woman seemed to sense it instinctively. She moved her hands over the glowing panels, her crystal responding with synchronized pulses. The symbols on the walls shifted, calming the energy. Ethan watched in fascination. She wasn't just interacting with the system, she was controlling it, restoring balance with her own energy. Ethan spoke softly. "You're amazing. I've never seen anything like this." She tilted her head, her luminous eyes meeting his. Then, almost deliberately, she touched the panel in a new way. A hidden door slid open silently, revealing a staircase that descended into darkness. The air smelled faintly metallic but fresh, like an alien forest after rain. Ethan knew they were heading into the heart of the ruins, the central chamber where the most important technology must be stored. He followed carefully, his scanner active, watching for fluctuations in the energy. The staircase was narrow and winding, carved directly into the stone. The walls were etched with more symbols, some glowing softly, others darkened with age. Every step deeper felt like a step further into history, a place untouched by time yet alive with energy. When they reached the bottom, Ethan's breath caught. The chamber was enormous, filled with crystalline structures, floating energy conduits, and panels that pulsed with an intricate rhythm. The alien woman stepped forward, her glow blending with the light of the room. She moved confidently, as if she had been here many times before. Ethan marveled at her grace, the way she seemed perfectly at ease in this strange, ancient environment. He approached a large panel at the center of the chamber. Its light was brighter than anything he had seen, and energy flowed through it like a river. The alien woman placed her hands on the panel, and the crystal in her chest pulsed in perfect harmony. Lines of light connected her to the structure, creating a visible network of energy. Ethan realized that this was the core of the ruins, the heart of the system that sustained her species. He could hardly believe what he was seeing. The alien woman's species had created a civilization that integrated biology and technology seamlessly. Every living being was connected to the energy network, capable of regulating and maintaining life with incredible precision. Ethan felt a deep sense of admiration. Humanity had made incredible progress, but this was on a completely different level. The alien woman gestured toward a smaller panel beside the central core. Ethan approached and scanned it with his device. Data appeared on his wrist, showing patterns of energy, life support, and environmental control. He studied it carefully, realizing that the system could monitor not just individuals but entire ecosystems. Her species had created a technology that sustained life on a planetary scale. He turned to her. "This is incredible. You can control all of this." She nodded slowly, pulsing her skin through shades of green and blue. Ethan interpreted it as confirmation. She moved her hands over the smaller panel, and he watched as energy stabilized throughout the chamber. The readings on his scanner flattened into a steady, harmonious rhythm. The hum of power became soothing, almost musical. Ethan realized that her species had been designed to live in perfect harmony with technology. The crystal in her chest was not just a source of life, it was a bridge, a control device, and a teaching tool all in one. And now, with her guidance, he could begin to understand it. Humanity had never encountered anything like this before. He decided to try something carefully. Using his device, he mimicked the movements of her hands on the panel. The energy responded, fluctuating slightly but not dangerously. The alien woman watched him closely, pulsing her skin in bright shades of yellow and orange. Ethan interpreted it as encouragement. Slowly, he adjusted his movements, syncing with her rhythm. Gradually, the energy stabilized completely. A sense of accomplishment washed over him. He had not only survived this encounter but was actively learning from it. Humanity had always relied on intelligence, problem-solving, and courage to face the unknown. And now those qualities were being tested in the most extraordinary way. He felt proud not just for himself, but for what humans could achieve when they acted with curiosity, patience, and respect for life. The alien woman moved toward another section of the chamber, her movements precise and confident. Ethan followed, scanning everything he could. He noticed floating devices that emitted soft pulses of energy, aligning perfectly with her crystal. Each device seemed to store knowledge, some perhaps acting as archives of her civilization. He realized that if he could access these devices, humans might learn not only about technology but also about philosophy, society, and the principles that guided her species. She paused at one of the devices and gestured for him to examine it. Ethan carefully approached, activating his scanner. The device responded immediately, projecting holographic patterns into the air. Complex shapes, symbols, and flows of energy floated around him. Ethan's mind raced to interpret what he was seeing. This was advanced beyond anything human technology could achieve, yet it was elegant, efficient, and beautifully intuitive. Hours passed as he studied the projections. The alien woman remained beside him, occasionally pulsing her skin in different colors to guide him, her crystal syncing with the flow of energy. Ethan realized that she was teaching him without words, using patterns, light, and touch to communicate. He marveled at her intelligence and patience. Humanity had the potential to understand, but only if they were willing to learn carefully and respectfully. Finally, Ethan felt he had grasped the basics of the system. He turned to the alien woman and gestured toward the central core. She responded with a series of pulses and movements that clearly indicated approval. Together, they walked toward the heart of the chamber. Ethan placed his hands on the panel, following her guidance. The energy flowed smoothly, completely stabilized, and a harmonious hum filled the chamber. He looked at her glowing eyes. She seemed to smile, or at least he interpreted it that way. She had trusted him, allowed him to learn, and together they had restored balance to this incredible system. Ethan felt a deep sense of connection, not just with her, but with the idea of humanity's potential. Humans had always faced challenges, but they had never faced a test quite like this. And yet, with intelligence, courage, and empathy, they were proving capable. Ethan realized that this chamber, this alien system, was more than just a relic. It was a library, a training ground, and a source of power. And the alien woman was the key. Humanity had much to learn, and now, for the first time, he understood that knowledge would come not from force or domination, but from cooperation, respect, and the willingness to learn from life unlike their own. He turned to her again. "We've done it. The energy is stable." "You're safe," she responded with a series of gentle pulses, and her crystal pulsed in harmony with the chamber. Ethan smiled. This was a triumph, not just for him, but for humanity. They had begun to build a bridge across species, across intelligence, and across worlds. The ruins were no longer just ancient structures. They were a testament to collaboration, understanding, and the potential of life in all its forms. For the first time, Ethan allowed himself a moment of reflection. Humans had always been explorers, adventurers, learners. They had faced the unknown with courage and ingenuity. Now, standing here with this alien woman, he realized that humanity's true strength lay in its ability to adapt, to understand, and to cooperate with life beyond their world. The alien woman moved closer, her crystal glowing softly. She reached out, touching his hand lightly. Ethan felt a surge of hope. They had accomplished something remarkable together, and this was only the beginning. The ruins held more secrets, more knowledge, and more challenges. But humanity had faced the unknown before, and they would do it again, not with fear, but with intelligence, courage, and empathy. Ethan took a deep breath. The journey ahead would be long and difficult, but he was ready. Together, they would explore the rest of the ruins, unlock the knowledge hidden within, and perhaps, in time, bring humanity closer to understanding the universe and the incredible forms of life that existed beyond their world. And as he looked at her, glowing and alive, he knew one thing with certainty: humans could rise to any challenge. They could learn from the unknown, adapt to it, and thrive. They could face the stars, not as conquerors, but as students, learners, and partners in the grand story of life itself. Ethan and the alien woman moved cautiously through the ruins, the glow from her crystal lighting the path. After stabilizing the central chamber and understanding much of the energy network, he knew their work was far from over. The ruins were vast, filled with corridors, chambers, and devices that had lain dormant for centuries. But now, with her guidance, he felt confident that they could explore further and uncover the secrets hidden deep within. He paused at a junction in the ruins. The energy readings on his scanner indicated a branching network ahead. One path led deeper into what appeared to be living quarters, while the other led to a massive chamber that hummed with powerful energy. The alien woman stepped forward, pulsing her skin in gentle shades of blue and green. Ethan interpreted the signals carefully. She was guiding him toward the energy chamber, the heart of her species, knowledge, and technology. As they moved forward, Ethan could see that the walls themselves seemed alive. Symbols shifted subtly as they approached, reacting to their presence and her energy. The alien woman's crystal pulsed in time with the energy flowing through the ruins, creating a visible connection between her and the environment. Ethan marveled at the synchronization. He had studied alien life for years, but nothing prepared him for the perfect harmony between this being and the world around her. Reaching the energy chamber, Ethan stopped in awe. The room was enormous, filled with floating crystalline structures, energy conduits, and panels that pulsed with light. The hum of power was stronger here, filling the chamber with vibrations he could feel through the soles of his boots. The alien woman stepped forward confidently, moving toward the central structure. Ethan followed, scanning every detail with his devices. The central structure was unlike anything he had ever seen. It appeared to be a living archive, storing knowledge, energy patterns, and biological data. Her crystal pulsed more brightly as she approached, and lines of light connected her to the structure. Ethan realized that she was activating it, bridging the gap between biological and technological systems. Every pulse of energy was synchronized, every movement precise. He watched in amazement. "This is incredible," Ethan whispered. "Your species, you've created something beyond anything humans could imagine." The alien woman responded with a series of soft, melodic sounds, and her skin shifted through a spectrum of colors. Ethan understood that she was acknowledging his words, even if she could not understand them fully. She had begun to trust him, to include him in her world, and he felt a sense of responsibility heavier than anything he had known. Humanity had a chance to learn here, not just about technology, but about life, cooperation, and intelligence. Ethan approached one of the floating panels. Using his device, he began to interact with it, carefully mirroring the patterns the alien woman had established. The energy flowed smoothly, stabilized by their joint efforts. The panels displayed holographic symbols, flowing diagrams, and what appeared to be maps of energy distribution across her planet. Ethan's mind raced. This knowledge could revolutionize human understanding of energy, sustainability, and even biology. The alien woman moved beside him, guiding his hand subtly, ensuring he did not disrupt the delicate balance. Every action he took was met with a response, a pulse, a color shift, or a soft sound. Slowly, Ethan began to see the logic of the system. It was designed not only to sustain life, but to teach, to adapt, and to communicate with intelligent beings. Her species had created a network that integrated biology and technology perfectly. Hours passed as they worked together. Ethan learned to read the subtle cues, to synchronize his movements with her energy patterns, and to understand the logic of the panels. The alien woman seemed patient, almost like a teacher guiding a student through a complex lesson. He realized that humanity had faced challenges before, but this was different. This was not about survival or exploration alone. This was about learning, understanding, and forming a partnership that transcended species. Finally, Ethan felt confident in his understanding. He stepped back and observed the entire chamber. The energy flowed smoothly, the panels pulsed in harmony, and the alien woman's crystal glowed steadily. They had restored balance. But more than that, they had formed a connection between human intelligence and alien knowledge, between two species capable of understanding each other in ways that went beyond words. He spoke softly. "We've done it. The system is stable. You're safe." The alien woman responded with a series of bright pulses and melodic tones. Ethan interpreted them as approval and gratitude. She moved closer, and for a brief moment, they simply observed each other. He felt a sense of accomplishment, not for himself, but for what humanity could achieve when it approached the unknown with courage, intelligence, and empathy. Ethan knew there was still much to learn. The ruins were vast, and while the central system was now stable, there were countless chambers, devices, and artifacts waiting to be explored. He had a responsibility not only to continue learning, but also to ensure the alien woman's safety. Together, they would uncover more knowledge, and perhaps one day humanity could use it to improve life on their own world. The alien woman moved toward another section of the chamber, her crystal glowing softly. She gestured for Ethan to follow. He obeyed, his scanner active, his mind alert. The new chamber was smaller but filled with intricate devices and glowing panels. Ethan approached cautiously, examining each one. He realized that these devices were data storage units, containing information about her species, their history, and their understanding of the universe. With her guidance, Ethan began to access the data. The panels responded to her energy, and together they unlocked holographic projections that displayed star maps, energy networks, and diagrams of biological systems. Ethan's mind raced with the possibilities. Humanity could learn from this. They could understand energy in ways never before imagined. They could explore life on other worlds with new tools, and they could build systems that harmonized with the environment rather than depleting it. The alien woman watched him closely, occasionally pulsing her crystal to guide his actions. Ethan realized that she trusted him completely. She had accepted his help, and in return, she was allowing him to learn, to understand, and to participate in the restoration of her civilization's legacy. It was a partnership built on mutual respect, intelligence, and empathy, qualities that defined humanity at its best. Hours turned into what felt like days. Ethan and the alien woman worked tirelessly, stabilizing systems, unlocking knowledge, and exploring the hidden depths of the ruins. Every discovery brought new insights, every interaction strengthened their connection. Ethan marveled at the sophistication of her species, at the elegance of the energy networks, and at the harmony between life and technology. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they paused. The ruins were stable, the energy balanced, and the alien woman rested beside him. Ethan felt a profound sense of satisfaction. They had accomplished something extraordinary together. Not just survival, not just understanding, but a true partnership. Humanity had proven that they could learn from the unknown, adapt to challenges, and cooperate across the boundaries of species and worlds. Ethan looked at her glowing eyes and smiled. "We've done something incredible. Together, we've stabilized this place and we've learned so much. But I think this is only the beginning." She pulsed her crystal gently, almost as if acknowledging his words. Ethan felt a surge of hope. Humanity had the potential to explore, to understand, and to thrive in the universe. They had faced the unknown countless times, and each time they had proven capable of rising to the challenge. Now, with this alien woman and her civilization's knowledge, their potential was limitless. He realized that the ruins were more than a place of technology. They were a bridge between species, a testament to cooperation, and a source of knowledge that could change humanity forever. The alien woman had trusted him, guided him, and shared her world. In return, he had used intelligence, patience, and empathy to help her survive and learn. Together, they had created something greater than either could achieve alone. Ethan knew that their journey was far from over. There were still chambers to explore, systems to stabilize, and knowledge to unlock. But for now, he allowed himself a moment of quiet reflection. Humanity had always been defined by its curiosity, courage, and intelligence. And here, on a distant world, he saw those qualities in action, bridging the gap between human and alien understanding. The alien woman reached out, touching his hand once more. Ethan felt a surge of connection, a bond that transcended language, species, and culture. They were partners, collaborators, and explorers together. And in that moment, he realized that humanity's future was brighter than ever. They could face the unknown not with fear or dominance, but with curiosity, empathy, and the determination to learn and grow. As they prepared to leave the chamber and continue exploring, Ethan took a deep breath. The ruins had been a challenge, a mystery, and a test, but they had succeeded. Humanity had shown once again that intelligence, courage, and compassion were more powerful than fear or uncertainty. And with that knowledge, Ethan felt ready to face whatever lay ahead. The alien woman moved forward, glowing softly, guiding him toward new corridors and chambers. Ethan followed, his mind alert, his heart filled with hope. Together, they would continue to explore, to learn, and to discover the wonders hidden within the ruins. And in doing so, humanity would take another step toward understanding the universe and the incredible forms of life that existed within it. Ethan smiled as he walked beside her. He knew that this was only the beginning of a partnership that could change everything. Humanity had faced the unknown countless times, and each time they had risen to the challenge. Now, with the guidance of this alien being and the knowledge of her civilization, they could reach heights they had never imagined. And as they ventured deeper into the ruins, the glow from her crystal lighting the way, Ethan felt a sense of certainty. Humans could survive, adapt, and thrive anywhere. They could learn, cooperate, and achieve greatness beyond their own world. The universe was vast, full of challenges and mysteries, but humanity was ready. They had courage, intelligence, and empathy, and with those qualities they could face anything, explore everything, and rise to the stars. Ethan took one last look at the central chamber before moving on. The energy flowed smoothly, the ruins pulsed with life, and the alien woman's crystal glowed steadily. They had succeeded, but more importantly, they had forged a connection that could shape the future. Humanity had proven once again that they were capable of extraordinary things. And this was only the beginning of a journey that would take them beyond the stars, into the heart of the unknown, and into the future they were destined to explore.